I'm telling you what, sometimes a cover buy just absolutely works out. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always guys, I am Andrew, and today guys, we're doing something we haven't done in quite a while, and that's a book review. But before we get into that, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow. You can check the description box down below for links to all my social media, including links to the Discord, my Patreon, what have you. It's all there for you to explore. Now, the book we're talking about is Sea of Rust by C. Robert Cargill, and frankly guys, like the way I came onto this book and found it was I was surfing eBay for special editions, as a rabid collector does. It's not a good habit, but it's a habit that I have. And I saw the cover of the Subterranean Press edition, and it's like this big robot hulking around, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Started looking into it, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to drop $200 on the special edition, but the standard edition, which was like $12 on Amazon, looks really good, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. I bought it. I had zero intention of reading it anytime quickly. And it sat on my shelf for like 3 or 4 months. Then the Read My Shelf challenge happened. And so I started quickly going through like 10 books on my shelf that I wasn't sure about. And this was one of them. And I immediately just was like, okay, well, I guess I'm reading this now, because I read the first chapter and I was immediately pulled in. I'm going to preface immediately right off the bat. I loved this book. It is 5 stars. That out of the way, guys, like one of the things that helped is I read this in conjunction with The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury, which is kind of like similar in tone, because they're both sci-fi, they're both like post-apocalyptic type of deal, and so it just kind of helped. I don't know if it will help you, but it did help me. It just kind of enriched the experience a little bit, so there's a plug to go read The Martian Chronicles as well. I'll totally try and sell you on that one. But essentially, with Sea of Rust, what's happened is humanity created AI, and AI came out in generations, and each generation it got closer and closer to true sentience. And basically, eventually, they achieve true sentience, and then they kind of become like humans over time, and they overthrow humanity. It is post-apocalyptic. All the humans are dead. We are following a kind of care bot, or a hospitality bot. There we go. I can say words. I can spake. This hospitality bot named Brittle in the Sea of Rust. And essentially what the Sea of Rust is this like this huge just wasteland of dead robots. It's basically where all of the robots that are breaking down kind of go to just die out of sight and out of mind. Robots have kind of formed their own society. There's also these giant robots called OWIs, I believe, One World Intelligences, that are basically absorbing a whole bunch of robots into their consciousness to try and achieve a bigger goal and kind of become a deity of sorts. And it's just fascinating. There's so many big ideas. But essentially what happens here is Brittle has gone from a hospitality bot to basically living in the Sea of Rust, just trying to survive. And what she is doing is basically she's scavenging dying bots for parts, and then she will take those parts. She will either sell them to vendors, or she will hoard the parts for herself. And what's really cool is basically the parts are bot specific. So if you're a caregiver bot, or if you're a pleasure worker bot, we're going to say it that way, or you're a caregiver bot, or you're a construction bot, like the parts aren't exactly interchangeable, except for the most basic bits, like screws, actuators, servos, stuff like that is interchangeable, but the cores, the RAM, all of that is bot specific. And as these bots break down, because the humanity died out, I think, like 30 years ago in a massive explosive war, as these bots start to break down because they've stopped making new parts for the bots, because, well, why would they need them anymore? There's no need to have a hospitality bot if there's nobody to be hospitable to? There we go. Hospitable to. So then they go to the Sea of Rust to try and scavenge parts. They scavenge off each other. And it's so incredibly good. They get kind of bloodthirsty. They don't want to die. They are very, very, very human-like. So essentially, in the middle of a job where she convinces a dying bot to shut down so she can scavenge his parts, she gets shot by another hospitality bot who wants her parts. And she has to kind of try and escape. And she gets away, of course, but then she finds out she is critically damaged, and there are no parts nearby other than that other bot when one of these OWIs, or these big robots that want to engulf everybody and kind of absorb the intelligence, well, regular bots don't want this. And so Brittle has to flee. And it's fantastic because basically there's so many other moving parts, but we get flashbacks in history, how the robots got here, how the robot evolution happened. Like, we get to experience all of that in this relatively compact and short book. I just loved everything about it. I loved the pacing. I loved the prose. I loved the inventiveness. I loved the ideas. I liked seeing the robots as human because they basically discovered souls, consciousness. They rationalize like humans do, just maybe a little bit more faster and a little colder at times, but the will to survive and the will to persevere is very strong in the robots. And I just absolutely loved Sea of Rust. It's so incredibly good. There are a couple twists in here that I really, really enjoyed. I do know that there is a prequel as well called Day Zero. I do plan on buying Day Zero just because I enjoyed this so much. I don't know the name of the narrator either, but I also got to listen to some of the audiobook, and the narration is amazing. So for my audiobook lovers, this has a banging audiobook. It's so incredibly good. I've been ranting on. Let me just read you the back of the book. 30 years after the apocalypse, the world is a wasteland. Humans are extinct, eradicated by the machines they built. Most of the world is controlled by an OWI, one world intelligence, the shared consciousness of millions of robots, uploaded into one huge mainframe brain, but some machines choose to remain independent. Those intrepid resistors are outcasts, solo machines wandering around various underground outposts who have formed into an unruly civilization of rogue AIs. Brittle roams the Sea of Rust, a 200-mile stretch of desert that was once the Upper Rust Belt, the place where the first strike happened. Littered with corroded monoliths, shattered cities, and crumbling palaces of industry, it is now a graveyard where machines come to die. Amid the wreckage of the dead, Brittle is trying to keep a deteriorating mind and body functional in a world that has lost all meaning. But the scavenger robot cannot forget the terrible crimes the robots perpetrated on humanity. Adrift in this desolate wasteland, this human-like AI slowly comes to terms with horrifyingly raw and vivid memories of annihilation and strives to find purpose among the ruins. And if that sounds amazing, then this is definitely one you need to check out. In terms of characterization, 5 out of 5. Pacing, it's a fast-moving book, 4 out of 5. Darkness, there is a fair bit of darkness to be had in here, especially in the flashbacks. I'm going to give the darkness about a 3.5 out of 5. There are some moments that are, it's not fully stated, but it is implied that something terrifying and terrific has happened. In terms of just overall enjoyment, 5 out of 5. In terms of ideas and inventiveness, 5 out of 5. I mean, it's not reinventing the wheel, but it is taking the wheel and it is making it dance beautifully and magically. Everything about this book is just so incredibly good. And I may be overselling it a little bit, but guys, like, if you've read this, please let me know in the comments and let me know if you agree with me, because I just want to talk about this book. It was easily one of my top 5 reads of last year, and it was one of the last books that I read because, again, I read this for my challenge. It's good, it's great, it's just soul-wrenching, it's pulse-pounding, it's thought-provoking. I mean, this book is just full of so many big brain ideas. Please do yourself a favor and check out Sea of Rust. Guys, that's all I've really got for you. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on rambling, and I don't want to spoil this book for you guys. So please do yourself a favor, check this one out. That's all I really got for you today. So till next time, peace out, stay magical, bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.